It is time for the one and only, the premier, the only official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Your Chute Bosses are ready, so let's give it a go and talk some rodeo.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another special NFR episode of the Chute Bosses. Tanner Barr, Tim O'Connell here. Our podcast here at the NFR is brought to you by Husky Trailer Parts Company, making this all possible. Tim, let's first of all just talk about what a night of rodeo it was. We're getting closer to that midway point. Guys are getting a little sore. You know, the world champion race starting to figure itself out a little bit, and tonight we saw that.
You do. All of the rough stock is now gone through their eliminator pins. For the bareback riding, this is like your night off. Right? Like, you started with the souped up hoppers, which are, 21 through the 40th best horses in the world. But you have to deal with the jitters, the excitement. Some of these guys are first timers. One guy is actually a true rookie. You have even the guys that have been here 5 times, and guys like Richie Champion, who've been here 9 times. There's nothing that you can do to shake the excitement of round number 1. So you obviously get a little bit tight. You get a little bit amped up. Like, the emotions of Las Vegas play on you, even in a round that should be a little bit easier on your body. Then we move to the bucker pin. Those are horses that are going to soar you up because they're big, they're strong, and they do things to mess with you. And last night, obviously, the E-pin played havoc on most of the field. Tonight, this is their day off. But in all the other events, too, like in the bronc riding, the eliminator pin was tonight.
It was nasty, too.
It was nasty. Like, they're showing... the beauty of the eliminator pin is you separate, in a lack of a better term, the men from the boys. Yeah. And the other figure of speech is that it will show you who wants to be in a world title race and who is there. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's just the cold hard truth. Mm-hmm. Like, the guys that have prepared themselves, and there's luck, there's talent, but then there's heart. Talent alone does not get you through an eliminator round. It takes that second, third, fourth effort of strain on the body, strain on the mind, and just, I got to get this done. And that's what separates world champions from great guys and the guys that are just happy to be here.
And let's talk about one of those guys that really showed that true grit tonight. Bradley Miller, the kid is having a fantastic NFR, and Timmy's slowly starting to find himself in this race for a world championship.
Slowly because of last night.
Yeah.
But he drew deep in the eliminator pin last night.
He did.
Bradley, what an impressive first NFR.
It's been great, yeah.
It's been great. Second in round 1, wins round 2. But his 62 points last night.
Yeah, it hurts.
It hurts. But the one thing that impressed me about Bradley last night, more than anything, was he was bucked off at 4 seconds. And he held on. A lot of guys would have checked out. Mm-hmm. Like, the way he hung off to the side of Captain Hook and was conscious enough to take his free arm and put it away from the horse and just hang on and get the score. It was not a good score. It was 62.5 points. He knew it wasn't a good ride. He wished it would have gone better. But he got up with a smile on his face and still put his hands up because, he's so excited to be here.
Yeah.
And I seen him at Cowboy Christmas today, and he has got an NFR rookie horse as well, and Secret's Out. This horse has only been inside, we have what we call outdoor horses and indoor horses.
Yeah.
This horse has been fantastic outside. They won Lovington on him, and they won Stevensville on him. Yeah. He is awesome. He takes a nice little scoot. When he breaks in one spot that doesn't go from me to you away for 6 seconds. That is a bareback rider's dream. But those are both trips that were outdoors.
You didn't know how the horse was going to perform inside.
You don't know how he's going to perform inside. You don't know how he's going to handle the lights, the smoke, the sound, being in the bucking chute for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. The NFR is unlike anything else. Them horses get loaded at 5:20. They don't get bucked till 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. It's a long time for a horse to stand in the box and take the light show, take the boom, take 100 horses running around them in the grand entry, and not to mention a singer every night. Mm-hmm. Tonight was Memorial Night, so
a little bit longer, yeah.
It's a long time. It's a long time for a horse to stand in there. You don't know how they're going to react. This horse is fantastic. and Bradley aced him tonight. And like I said, we talked earlier today, and he asked me, what would you do? I said, I would forget that round 3 ever happened. Take that one, you just didn't show up. Like when I have bad rodeos, like when I show up and I don't perform to my highest ability and I have a really bad night, I start telling myself I didn't enter the rodeo. I speak it out loud because the human tongue is the most important thing on the mind.
100%.
I will not speak negative about my riding because I know I'm a 3-time world champion and I know how to do this at the highest level. So, but we're human. So you don't speak that, you speak positive into existence. So I didn't enter. I didn't even show up. I missed my flight. We didn't show up on time. I start saying these things out loud so I can forget about that bad night as quick as possible. I just take it and I just throw it out the window. I said, start doing that. Don't think about it anymore. Take it away. And I would think about night number 2. Think only about night number 2. Keep your feet down, keep your chin down, and just go have fun, be electric. Because between him and Dean Thompson, and now Jess Pope obviously last night showed why he's Jess Pope.
Yeah.
He finally showed up last night. But between those three are the most aggressive bareback riders in the field as of right now. Keenan is doing what Keenan is supposed to do, and he is riding fantastic. I'm not taking anything away from Keenan Hayes, but he is injured. You can see it in his riding that he is not the Keenan Hayes of last year. He is babying an injury along, and he has a giant lead to protect that lead.
Yeah.
And he's not going to take any chances, and he does not need to. He should not take any chances. Because if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to walk to a second world title. But Bradley tonight, what a way to bounce back from an NFR rookie.
Yeah, and he's right there in the mix for a gold buckle. It's going to come down to it. You know, can Keenan continue to stay consistent? Can he continue to do what he's doing? You know, you never know when that thing's going to flare up. You've dealt with a very similar injury to what that is. So going to be interesting to see how it shakes out over the next 5 nights.
And the beauty of what Bradley did tonight is he pulled himself back up in the average. I don't know where he fell to last night, but he probably jumped himself back up 3 or 4 spots. So now he's obviously not in the top 5 of the average. I'm not exactly sure where he's at.
Yeah, I can't remember where he fell to.
He's pushing himself back up there. If Bradley Miller keeps doing what he's doing and keeps slowly climbing that average race back up, these $33,000 rounds could put him in a world title contention. I mean, he's got 6 more nights of this too.
Can't wait to see how it shakes out, man. It's going to be a fun one. There's no doubt about that. Let's go on and talk a little bit about another race in the backside of things. In the steer wrestling, obviously Big Will Loomis not here tonight, but another guy that's in gold buckle contention, J.D. Struxness, comes and gets the job done, flips one quick. He was pumped up back here in the media room, and that's a good feeling after maybe some things haven't gone your way in the first couple of nights.
And I expected this of J.D. I think everybody expected this of J.D. He had a very tough steer in night number 1, which is also the same steer that Will Loomis had tonight. And obviously there's something tricky about that steer because Will is the hot man right now. But J.D. Struxness, when you take yourself out of the average, not on purpose, but it happens.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
It's better for it to happen in the first half of this rodeo. The same thing I told Rocker when he got knocked out and took himself out of the average with the buck off, excuse me. If this would have happened in round 7 or 8, your world title chances are over. You don't have enough ground to make up. Because a lot of times, like, I know it's early, but you are thinking of the average still. The average is 2.5 rounds of the $84,000. So with that, JD is technically out of the average, but could come back in. That mulligan happens in a lot in the timed events. So for him to go after rounds, he could insert himself in the world title race because there's a lot of times that the 10th round boogeyman comes out. We've seen Tyler Wagesback win 2 world titles off.
Last second.
The fluke of the 10th round, you know, when all you got to do is catch and it just doesn't happen. So J.D. Struxness, he doesn't have to worry about that. He just has to go out and be the very best version of himself, and that is the best version. J.D. Struxness can win at any given time. That steer wrestling field is fantastic.
It is fantastic. And another field that had a little bit of an off night, I would say, but, you know, not necessarily record-breaking or record-shattering. The steers were a little bit tougher. That was the team roping. 4 different teams at 4.1 seconds. What's it like when you share around with somebody, let alone 3 other teams in this scenario?
I tell you what, that looked like the grand entry going around there. And you can see with the 4.1, they're being a little bit more cautious now. I mean, we had the first 3 nights, we had 3-second catches.
Yeah.
And, we had a tie last night as well. These guys are now thinking of this average because the guys at the top are starting to pull themselves out.
Some guys are missing, yeah.
They're missing. And like I said, that mulligan, the top guys in the world have to have the mulligan.
Yep.
Because it just happens. So with that, these teams that are in world title contention, they're just being smart. They're going out there and roping. I mean, 4 guys splitting up first through fourth, it's going to pay somewhere in probably like the 22, 23,000. But to be clean on 4 moving forward,
it's important.
It's so important. You're seeing guys starting to play that average into effect. Like this average is the difference in those events that have that mulligan type. You can have one mess up.
Yeah. Most of the field's going to, probably end up having one blemish on the record for sure.
Exactly. So you have that mulligan. Let's go out there and rope. If we can get clean on 10, it's okay to win 22,000 or, and it's fantastic that 4 teams were smart enough to do that tonight. But it's also scary because those teams that have that mulligan, they know we got to be fast too.
And the thing is $86,000 is a lot of money, man. You win that average, you can climb. You can climb quite a few spots in those world standings. So I think that's going to be interesting. You talked about watch how the styles are. Watch if they start being a little bit more smarter, those guys towards the top of the average and whatnot. So that's going to be a fun one. And another guy that's kind of had a mulligan early on. It was a tough one, tough pill to swallow. That's Ryder Wright in the saddle bronc riding. I believe it was in round number 2. He called for a missed mark out. And tonight he said, I missed it. I made a mistake. And that happens. But he bounces back tonight, 90.5 points, sets the round record, took it from, I believe, his uncle Jesse Wright as well. So he's one of those guys that kind of has that championship mentality, and he's right back in it as well because that E-pin did some damage to some of those top guys here tonight.
It did. Their E-pin was nasty tonight.
It was.
And you say championship Pro Rodeo, owned by my brother,
Yep, there you
Will
go.
O'Connell. And what a good night. I'll be honest, I was rooting for Ryder Wright tonight.
Yeah.
I personally on my picks, I thought Awesome Sauce and Brody Crest, but Awesome Sauce got him down.
Him off, yeah.
But Stetson alluded to it earlier in the week. Ryder just seems like Ryder again.
He does.
When Ryder was on his tear for the 2 world championships, he had the fastest feet. He had the style to him. And Stetson kind of took that shine away from him. And can you imagine having 9 brothers, sisters, uncles all wearing blue shirts and competing against them and traveling against them, and they're the bronc riding family of the world, and having to share that style of, you're competing against the best guys in the world and they're your family.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. That's unseen. That's nothing that will ever probably be replicated. The only thing that's close is the Hay family, and there's only 3 of them.
Yeah, and then you throw Zeke Thurston into the mix.
You throw Zeke Thurston into the mix. Ryder has been riding phenomenal all week.
He has. He really has.
I mean, everything he's done this week, other than the missed mark out, the thing about the Wright brothers, they just want to go spur.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately.
Get right back on, we're going.
Get right back on, we're going. Even on the missed mark out, it wasn't because he, the foot fell. They just spur so quick, and that is their style. Let's get going right away. We want to go off the first jump. Unfortunately, he had that, but what I was saying with Stetson, and he alluded to it, Ryder is back. And he's back. They call him the Iceman for a reason. And his deal now is he's the money man.
Yeah, I
right?
saw him been doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everyone kind of forgets the first 4 rounds that Ryder ever competed on at the NFR. He won 4 rounds in a row.
Exactly.
He has that ability to strike at any given time, and he looks like that guy that won 4 rounds in a row. I see this being a trend for the rest of the finals.
Don't let Ryder Wright get hot, they say. That kid can go on a tear. Another guy that's been on a tear, Tim, I feel like we just got to keep talking about him. How about Riley Webb? $136,000. I added it up, 29.4 seconds. That's all it's taken him to now have a $55,000 lead in the world standings.
Man, he's amazing. I can't say enough good about Riley Webb. I mean, the swagger, the hunt, everything that we have talked about over
the course. He has that look in his eye,
He's got it. He feels it in his heart that I want to make a statement.
He has.
And he has. I mean, he can do no wrong in this arena right now. And I still feel like he feels he's the hunter. He has to hunt the world championship down. Yep. He's not hunting Shad anymore. He's hunting the gold buckle.
Yeah.
He has removed everybody out of this situation, and I'm going to win at all costs. And he is, the beauty about it, like last night, he slowed down to be fast.
Yeah.
That was
That's
the
how you
biggest.
know.
That's
Yeah.
how you know. He knew, like, if you watched his run go last night, the way he roped that calf and to get him spun around and get him flanked correctly so he could be, I think he was 7-1 last night.
And got second, behind Ty Harris. Yeah.
Yeah, by Ty Harris. He knew there's something going on here. I need to slow this down for these 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
The ability to do that is a different level of thinking.
Different level of thinking, different level of talent, trust in your horse. Like
trust in everything.
A lot goes into it, yeah.
I mean, he is doing all this in slow motion. He is seeing everything. He is feeling everything. And that was the most impressive. His second place finish last night was the most impressive. Because if he just runs like he did in round 1 and round 2, he might make a mistake that could cost him 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
It cost him 0.2 seconds. That was the most impressive thing to me out of all of his runs. And tonight, everything just went perfect. And he goes right back to the South Point.
Right back to the South Point. And for the first time in the barrel racing, the first 3 nights of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, we don't have Haley Kinzel in the winner's circle. She still finishes third. But Cassie Mowry. Mowry first round came out, hit a barrel, had an 18.34. But since then, she's been top 2 in every round behind Haley Kinzel. And tonight, they kind of flip-flop spots, and Cassie's right back there as well, right in the hunt for a world championship.
It was only a matter of time.
It was.
It was only a matter of time that Sister didn't win, and Cassie Mallory stepped up.
Yep.
I mean, everyone wants to talk about Haley and Sister. I do too.
Yeah.
I want to get the fangirl shirts, but in the barrel racing world, Cassie Mallory.
She's a superstar.
She's a superstar. She's on a different level of superstardom in the
Yeah.
barrel racing community. She can win on any horse. And that's why everybody was just, it was only, like I said, it was only a matter of time before she got into the winner's circle because she is such a horsewoman. She can ride anything and win on anything. And it was just only a matter of time before the stars lined up and Cassie Mallory struck.
Yeah,
it was tonight.
Yeah, she was talking about she had to get out of trainer mode back into jockey mode because she trained so many of these great barrel racing horses, and we showed it tonight. She's just one that has, it seems like every opportunity she gets, she takes advantage. She's back here in Vegas and winning a ton of money and up to number 2 in the world standings now. And Tim, let's wrap this thing up talking about bull riding, a guy that been searching for that world title, been digging for that world title, been close but just been short to Kai Hamilton, then to Stetson Wright, and Sage Kimsey over the years. That's Josh Frost, and he got the job done here tonight in round number 4.
And who couldn't be happier for
Exactly.
Josh Frost? I mean, out of this field, when the superstars, if you want to take it, Josh Frost is a superstar.
100%, man.
And he has been overshined in, like you said, the Stetson Wright, the Sage Kimsey, and the Kai Hamilton. I mean, between those 3, I mean, if you want to add up all the Stetsons, you want to add up all the Kais, and you want to add up all of the Sages, you're looking at 16 world titles between those 3 guys.
Yeah.
The Frost name is known in bull riding, and honestly, you just want it for Josh Frost. And you can see he wants it too.
He does.
He is badly hurt with a torn rotator cuff, and it does not matter. And if there's anybody in the field that you want to pull for, it's Josh Frost.
And he's going to grit that thing out. He is.
He
wants
is.
it that bad.
He wants it that bad. And in a sense, he deserves it that bad.
It's going to be a fight to the finish, but that's a big win tonight for Josh Frost.
It is. It's a big step in the right direction. And there are, I mean, he's number 1 in the world. That helps him increase his lead. He's been bucked off 1 bull.
He has, yep.
So Tristan Hutchinson bucked off his first bull
Cooper
tonight.
James bucked off tonight, his first bull.
So that levels
right back in it, yep.
levels the field for the average, puts him in the driver's seat. But at the end of the day, he's got to get through the next 6 nights.
And he's already kind of holding that shoulder, dealing with that a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see. But he's one guy I know he's going to give it every ounce of effort and drive and determination that he has. And let's talk to another man as we go to our round-winning interview here that needed a bounce-back performance and got it tonight. Let's sit down with Ryder Wright. Welcome into your Husky Trailer Parts round-winning interview with Ryder Wright. Ryder gets back into the win column here at round number 4 at the 2024 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo presented by Teton Ridge. 90.5 points on Tickled Pink. Take me through the ride. What allowed you to come out here and have success and pick up a big payday?
Well, that's an awesome horse. When I nodded my head, I really tried to hold my mark out, try to leave no question. Kind of bit me in the butt the other day here, but, you got to just roll with the punches and, try to not let that affect the rest of the go-arounds, because there's a lot of money to be won here.
You mentioned not letting it affect you. Obviously, you bounce back tonight. How much of a move-on mentality do you have to have in Las Vegas? You know, obviously the no score there in round number 2 to bounce back and do what you did here tonight.
Oh, for sure. That's got to be your biggest deal. You know, things happen here, and that you know, it's in your control. But I don't know. You just got to have that, like, a strong mental. I always say rodeo is 80% mental, and the rest is in your head. You know, because I know how to ride broncs. I know how to mark horses out. And so to be able to let that slip off over the shoulder and just, come out and perform like I know how to perform.
How much confidence does this give you? I know you're a confident guy regardless of, what happens inside the arena, but to be able to bounce back and now move forward, see if you can gain some momentum. We still have, 6 rounds to go, 5 rounds to go, and you still have a lot of money, $150,000 out there on the table.
Yeah, this is huge. I don't know.
Yeah, I got you, man. We look forward to what we have the rest of these rounds. How do you just find a way to continue riding well? Or does it also come down to what horses they run underneath you?
Well, that is a big part. The horses half your score. So sometimes it just doesn't work out in your favor. But when you do draw those good horses, you got to be able to capitalize on it and make the best ride you can.
You taking all the brothers down to the South Point?
Yeah, we'll all be there, I'm sure.
I love it. Congrats, Ryder. There it is. Ryder Wright wins round number 4, 90.5 points on Tickled Pink here at the 2024 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo presented by Teton Ridge.
Have you been searching for trailer parts? Check out HuskyTrailers.com for their huge selection of in-stock trailer parts. From axle kits to lighting, wheels and brakes to suspension, we have it all covered. For 62 years, Husky's been keeping their customers traveling down the road safely. Shop online at HuskyTrailers.com and use code NFR24 for 10% off. That's HuskyTrailers.com, where everything ships for free. Husky's proud to be an official partner of PRCA and the NFR. Husky Trailer Parts, generations of trust delivered.
Cowboying is in our blood. Cowboying is in our bruises. It's in our rain-soaked jackets. In our calloused hands, tested by barbed wire and rope. Our mud-stained boots to the crown of our resist-all hat. You live out west for even the shortest time, and there's one thing you learn. You can't pretend out here. Resist-all. We live it every day.
And Ryder talked about how, he made that mistake. He admitted that in round 2, I got to hold that mark out a little bit longer. You mentioned those Wright boys want to go to spurring right away. And he said, I just didn't quite get there on that first jump. And you have to have that mentality to flush it. And when he said, when I saw Tickled Pink next to my name, I was Tickled Pink. And he found a way to come out and get the job done.
Yeah. And that's a world champion.
That's that mentality.
That mentality. He knew he made a mistake, but he accepted it.
Yeah.
He's not letting this affect the rest of his week.
Yep.
He's going out there with the mentality of, okay, I made the mistake. No different than we talked about with Bradley Miller. It's over. It's done with. I can never get that back. But what I can do is I can go after every single horse from here on out fearless. And when you let a Wright boy be fearless out there, that is what you get. You get a 90.5, the highest marked ride of the entire rodeo. And the second 90 in the bronc ride. And I mean, like I said, there's a resurgence. He just looks like Ryder Wright. There was something for a few years there that it just wasn't Ryder. Something was off. We don't know what it is, but Ryder looks back. Ryder looks in full force, and he is a true player still in this world title race.
Well, and I asked him about the world title, and he didn't even want to talk about the average. He said, there's $150,000 for wins and go-rounds, and that's when you know that mentality is flipped for him. That switch is flipped, that he's letting it all hang out, man. And we're going to see how it shakes out.
That's a scary guy to let it all hang out.
Yeah, and we got the big pin coming up tomorrow night. A lot of these TV, horses and bulls in the rough stock, and going to be fun. That's when we start to see those scores get a little bit elevated when you put world champion stock underneath them.
I'm telling you what.
Uh-oh, Tim.
I know.
You got a call from the that means it's time to go, doesn't it?
It's time to go, but I do want to hit on this before we left.
That's fine.
That TV pin tomorrow, just in the bareback riding that I know, is going to be electric. Out of the 20 horses that are selected into the TV pin, there is recorded in the PRCA's stats 29 90-point rides or better.
Wow.
There's only 2 horses in the entire field that have not recorded a 90, and they have 7 89.5s between them. I'm telling you what, if the rest of the field and the Bronx and the Bulls are as loaded as the bareback riding is, we could blow some records out of the water.
I can't wait to see what it shakes out. Tim O'Connell, he's a wanted man. We'll let him go. There it is. That's going to do it for another episode of the Chute Bosses. We appreciate Runyon's Fine Furniture and our sponsor, Husky Trailer Parts Company, for making this all possible. Until round number 5, keep on rodeoing.
He's addicted to danger, ruled by passion and pride. To pain and fear he's no stranger, but his lust needs to be satisfied. Hooked on an 8-second ride.